Yay! Fandom Flux. Casey is already tired because we spent 40 minutes talking about a shitty anime.
It's kind of amazing how much we talked about it.
For how nothing it was, yeah.
I'm
Well, if it wasn't for the school, I think we would have talked about it for about 12 minutes.
Yeah, we went on about the fucking cockerels in the background. The fucking school we talked about for 15 goddamn minutes just talking about how bullshit it was.
okay. Uh I want to
Zero,
I
why don't you
want
start
to
us off?
I want to start us off.
Okay.
So, I recently beat the new game Sonic Frontiers.
Oh,
You're not going to
yeah.
explain why there's a screeching in the background? I figured that'd be, step one.
That's football. Don't
There you
worry
go.
about football. So, Sonic Frontiers is okay. Before I actually talk about the game, I want to just briefly talk about, for anybody who is unaware, Sonic has had a bit of trouble the last several games. It has a lot of trouble with its identity. And oh, sorry. It has a bit of trouble with its identity. It has a bit of trouble with what type of game it wants to be. Because like we've had Sonic Lost World, we've had Sonic Forces,
Oh god, Sonic Forces.
right? And like you look at the last 3D Sonic games and they are, man, do they need some work, you know?
Generations remains the lone high point in the last 20 years.
Sonic Mania was good.
Sonic Mania was
But
good. It was also 2D,
That was
so it doesn't
but that
count.
was 2D. Yeah, you're right. Generations was great. But you had Lost World and you had Forces, and it has been like 11 years since Generations came out.
Oh, people will get pissed at me if I don't mention Sonic Colors, but I didn't play that one because it was on, like,
Sonic Colors came out
Wii.
before Generations, anyways.
It did, but I said in the last 20 years, so.
Yeah, it got ported and it was fine. And like some of the other Sonic games had good aspects to them, but it's been a very difficult time for Sonic.
Hmm.
And so Sonic Frontiers feels like a game written by people who actually care about the game and the character.
Okay.
It has a new combat system, which initially starts out very basic, but as you get to unlock more abilities, it becomes much more complex. And I've already seen some pretty insane combo videos that are like Sonic just super fast, dashing around, moving through the air, and hitting enemies like hundreds of times before they even hit the ground. It's incredibly fun.
Yeah, like, one of the very few high points of Sonic is for the speedrun enthusiast crowd that doesn't do glitch runs. Like, actually trying to get through a level really, really, really fast is kind of impressive and looks really cool. But there aren't many people that actually care about that. So, catering to a very small audience.
But the combat itself is very fun, and there are lots of bosses that force you to engage in combat in different ways. Lots of mini bosses. Running through the overworld is really fun, and the way they have the boost system work is you can do an air boost once in the air. That's like a short burst, and so you have to strategically use that to maneuver through things. And the platforming feels more complex and more thought out than past Sonic games.
Yeah,
Um,
two things I want to mention. I haven't played it, so this is me interrupting someone who played it to talk about things he has seen, having not played it. But there were two things. One, I saw a review that was saying, "Hey, this Sonic game has no momentum." And as someone who played every other Sonic game, thank fucking God it has no momentum, because like that was the worst part about those games was it moved so fucking fast. Yeah, gotta go fast and all that shit, but you didn't know you were gonna hit an obstacle until you hit it 3 seconds ago.
So
So good.
to elaborate on that a bit, um, jumping cancels out your momentum, which gives you more control over where you're going. So if you are going super fast and you want to redirect and not just fly off into the sun, doing a jump or a double jump will help you reorient yourself.
That sounds
And then
like a
you
good change to me.
and then you can air dash to go the opposite direction and like change your trajectory. So you have a lot of control over where you're going.
Yeah, usually it had the opposite. Like, I remember the sprint levels in Sonic 06, dear God, where it was the opposite effect. You jump, you lose all control. Like, you are going in the direction you're going if you jump, and you are not changing it at all. You can't.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
the opposite.
the worst.
It's the opposite here, and because you can air dash with your air boost, you can quickly change direction as well.
The other thing I saw was a very quick demo, not really for the game itself, but for the DLC for Corone sound effects that they have.
That's kind of hilarious, yeah.
It is fucking great because the rings, it replaces all of the sound effects, so the rings are just her going cha-ching or something. So if you actually just playing a level is just Corone shouting things in your ear for about 20 seconds. It's pretty funny. But yeah, they did a demo of her like doing one of the platforming challenges, climbing a tower in a certain amount of time, and it looked like really clean platforming. Like
Yes.
it looked really somewhat intricate, but not overly so, and it wasn't about going fast, thank fuck. It was, it was
When
about accuracy and doing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, when you are playing Sonic Frontiers well, you are playing a rhythm game.
Yeah.
You are making sure to homing attack at the right time. You're making sure to, and you're doing small optimizations to get even faster. By the way, the game has a very in-depth settings options for controlling how Sonic controls. For example, you can make him have a slower starting speed or a slower max speed. You can adjust the what is called the bounce setting, which impacts momentum. If you feel like the momentum is too much, you can actually decrease it or increase it if it's too low. Lots of very good controls. Some people were mentioning camera issues in reviews, but there is an option to turn off auto moving the camera at certain times to give you more camera control. Like there's a lot of good options for making the game just feel better.
That actually makes some like internal sense for the gameplay in general as well. Like you might have trouble controlling Sonic, but Sonic knows exactly what he's doing. So if you adjust the settings, then it's just Sonic being like, okay, I'm bouncing way too fucking much. I need to tone that shit down, kind of thing. Like those options actually kind of make sense.
It's pretty cool.
And the one thing this game really does is it uses a lot of like cinematic mini bosses that you can fight that feel super cool. There's a parry in the game that's really fun to pull off. The premise of like navigating the overworld is at first it's kind of basic because you just run around and you do little tiny like rails or jumps and different things. You get a couple of these memory tokens that you use to work to free Sonic's friends, which are Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. And then you'll have like conversations with them as you're trying to make your way through these various islands. Because they're basically trapped in a pseudo state between this cyberspace dimension and the reality. So they're basically like cyber ghosts. And
Okay.
as you go through the different islands, the overworld gets more complex with how everything links together until it feels like the overworld is just one super big stage that all like links up to each other, and it feels really nice to pull off, like moving through everything as fast as possible. And in addition to that, if you are at max rings, um, I should probably mention this. So Sonic, you can upgrade his stats. You can upgrade his attack, his defense, his max ring count that you can have, as well as his max speed by going and getting collectibles of various types and doing like puzzles and challenges and stuff in the world. And you can also do those small little challenges and puzzles to unlock more parts of your map so you can see where everything is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like there will be times in which like, okay, this puzzle is get to this space, get to this spot, go pass through all these rings like as fast as possible, or the puzzle is deal enough damage to this combat dummy, or sidestep in the right order, stuff like that. There's variety to it. And when you get max rings, your speed is set to max. So when you boost, there's a lightning effect around you, and the game feels incredible at max speed. I feel like I'm freaking Sonic the Hedgehog, like tearing through everything. And with defense, that decreases the amount of rings you lose upon death, so you can get back to max speed faster, or not death, but upon taking a hit, and so on and so forth. So a lot of collectibles, but the base gameplay is so fun that I felt like I was just more than happy to go run around and grab those collectibles.
Is it one of those things where just figure it out and it gives you a vague idea, or does it actually start showing you where they are eventually?
You can see them. You look around and you can see, oh, hey, there's rails and springs here. I can go interact with one of those things, and that will just sort of send me into a mini level of trying to platform around this area.
But does it show you which ones you've already done?
Yes.
What I mean. Yeah. Okay.
On the map, it'll show you. Okay, there's a memory fragment here. There's one, and like if you get that memory fragment, then it disappears off your map.
Okay. Cool. That's what I was worried about. That's all.
Yeah.
Just to bring back something you said earlier about it feeling like a rhythm game. That was a thing that was in the earlier games. Like that was absolutely how it felt sometimes when you played the earlier games. And honestly, those were the most fun parts, where you had to very carefully, like homing attack sequences. Like you've got like 6 enemies in the air, and you've got to time your homing attacks to make it so you hit each one in sequence without mistiming it and dropping out of the sky. That always felt great when it worked. Problem was, it was a little finicky, and every time it fucked up, you're like, oh, that wasn't my fault.
The homing attack works consistently, and it also is paired with the air boost. So if you want to get the fastest route, you want to air boost to those rings over there and take the higher route of this level, basically, to get a faster time. And
I want to play it now.
So the game has these things called cyberspace levels, which are honestly the majority, like the minority of the game, as opposed to the overworld stuff. But they are all levels, like actual real levels. A lot of them take huge design inspirations or straight up level layouts from previous games. Like Metal Harbor is in there. It doesn't look like Metal Harbor, but it is, based off the...
from 2.
Yeah, from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah. I just said 2,
so,
like that's... No.
Yeah.
This game has had a lot of series. Bear with me.
So, like, that's there. But there's also some original levels that are, a little bit more complicated. And it just feels fun. You can get red rings in each level. You can go for the S rank time. Level 1-2 is the hardest one in the game to get an S rank for. It's just, it's really tight timing. But it's also incredibly fun. And I really wish this game has DLC, because I feel like once I've mastered everything fairly well, I just want more challenging stuff to do.
I
The
feel
boss
like
fight,
with
yeah.
I've only seen not always ringing endorsements, but endorsements for this game of saying like, hey, it's actually a good one. I feel like they might actually support it with
They
after release content. Maybe it's
they
got a
have
better chance
stated
than most of them.
the director of the game has stated that this is like a global playtest and that this is the direction they want the franchise to go from now on, which I am so down for. Um, the game does lack polish in some areas, and it's not perfect by any means, but it just feels very fun to play. And that's kind of the core thing that um, made me really addicted to just running around the world. Because it felt like I was Sonic running around the world, you know? Um, the other thing I'm going to talk about briefly is the writing. So Ian Flynn is the writer on this game. Ian Flynn, who is working on the comics. And they have revealed recently in interviews that they have put together a lore team for Sonic
Fair enough.
to keep
all right.
everything consistent with the writing, and
To make sure Ken Penders continues to fuck off.
to make sure everything is just done well. And I can say 100% it shows, because I really, really like every character in this game and the way that they are written. Amy doesn't once say, "Oh, I love you, Sonic," or try to cling on to him. Not once. Amy has her own little character arc that you kind of get through different conversations. Tails is a character who is dealing with the fact that he feels like he's been stuck in Sonic's shadow, and he wants to be, his own person.
Oh my god, we're doing Sonic Adventure character arcs.
And Sonic's just like, well, or don't you remember Station Square and like when you helped against the Deadly Seven? And Tails is just like, well, then I'm wildly inconsistent.
That's fair. That is a fair self-criticism.
And so Tails he's like, well, I'm gonna go off on my own after this and try to be my own person.
Tails is gonna go off on a training montage. I love this. This is great.
Knuckles is somebody who is like has an interest in the ancients and their history, and has this wonderful rivalry with Sonic that like is also like, but they're also bros at the same time. And it's just every single character feels like so much love was put into them. Even Eggman is progressing as a character.
Wait, so you're telling me that Knuckles isn't a complete meathead in this one?
He is not.
Awesome. I love that. I always liked the idea that he's a bruiser and maybe a little naive, but he's not an idiot. Like that was kind of what I would have preferred for his character. They kind of just went with, yeah, he's kind of a dumbass. It's less interesting.
He's not an idiot. Amy is not selfless. And Sonic is written as somebody who you can tell he cares for his friends so much. And that they are his friends.
That's good.
There's just a lot of like genuineness to each of the characters. And the new character they introduced, Sage, is also... Yeah, they're excited for it. They're
Sage
excited.
fans.
Yeah, no, she's excellently written. It's quickly revealed that Sage is a creation of Eggman, who Eggman begins to view as his actual daughter.
Interesting.
This AI that he created, and it's just really heartwarming.
Hey, look, what was the first thing that came up on my Steam recommendations as soon as I opened it? Well, look at that. There's the buy button. Or technically the add to cart button. There we go.
It's genuinely just like... It's a good Sonic game. The writing's good. The soundtrack is fire. I love the music of this game. Obviously, the writing, characters, music, the boss fights are all incredibly cinematic and are super badass. Because the vocal music starts playing and you transform into Supersonic and have to fight a giant robot. And it happens more than just once in the game where you're playing a Supersonic and you have, infinite life, but you also have the ring counter that's constantly going down. So it becomes a time battle to just beat up the boss as quickly as you can and style on them as hard as you can.
And that's me hitting the purchase button.
I think you will like it.
It sounds like I like it. Like, you're telling me things that I really wanted from Sonic for a long time and didn't really get.
Yeah.
I'm also pretty happy with the lack of inclusion of Shadow or Rouge or Omega, who barely exists in the first place.
There is no Shadow, there's no Rouge, there is no Omega, but there are references where Sonic has like dialogue that he will say that will reference other characters. Like there's one line where it's like, man, maybe I should get Rouge to just steal the emeralds as he's trying to track down the Chaos Emeralds. And everything is canon. That is the approach they're taking with this series going forward. Styx from Sonic Boom, she's canon. Tangle from the comics, she's canon.
I don't know how they would do the Sonic Boom thing, but okay. Fair enough.
I think in the comics, it's like Styx came from another dimension. She came from the Boom dimension.
Okay, cool.
So, like,
hey, there was a thing that people like. Some people liked, so we'll take some stuff from it and be like, yeah, okay, that exists. That's fine.
Yeah. So, just it's crazy to me how there's also Eggman lore entries, like his personal memos that you can get by doing the fishing mini game with Big the Cat.
Oh, you had me so on board until that.
Except the fishing mini game is just kind of, it's simple and it's fun.
I got to say Froggy.
It's just, in fact, the best. Okay, now I know that there's been a bad history with Big the Cat and fishing minigame, but this fishing minigame is literally just hit the X button, then time it to hit the X button a second time. That's it.
Okay.
It's all just timing.
Okay.
And then and as a reward, you get tokens which you can exchange for the Eggman memos or the different collectibles. So if you don't want to grind for any of the collectibles or anything, you can literally just go fishing. And just spend like 10 minutes fishing and finding cool little random items that Sonic fishes out that have their own little entries. And then be like, okay, now I'm good to just progress.
I immediately have buyer's remorse. I just realized, hey, I really want to fucking play this game. That commission that's late. That Patreon chapter I have to get done tomorrow.
I mean, it'll be there waiting for you, and you know.
Yeah, that's my incentive, I guess. Finish it all, and then you can just fucking play Sonic.
Yeah, so
It's like I'm 12 again, except when I was 12, that usually meant, I'll play Sonic first for a few hours and then do the work like at 4 in the morning.
It gets a ringing endorsement from me. And I skipped out on Forces because
You didn't. You made the right choice.
I just couldn't.
You didn't want to play the fan fiction of the game?
It feels like...
Unfortunately, Sonic the Hedgehog was captured by Eggman. He's being tortured by Eggman for, like, fucking rebelling against his Eggman empire. Next scene. Man, I better bust out of here now. And he's just fucking gone. Like, okay. That's writing, I guess.
There's one last thing I will say. And that this, game actually goes um into lore about the world that we've never gone to see before. But like where the Chaos Emeralds came from, stuff like that. More stuff on the ancients, which is super cool. But it definitely the game sets up a sequel that would be super cool. One where each of the main cast is going on their own sort of adventure. Maybe a Sonic Adventure 3. I don't know. Just
I
saying.
really hope Ken Penders continues to fuck off. Like,
Um, yeah, me too.
That is a bad person. Like, I I get it to an extent, but dude,
I don't get it at all. He's just bad. He's just spiteful.
I get being protective of the things you create, but there is a line of what you can say you created. And he fucking long jumped over that line. He did a homing attack to get as far from that line, as far over that line as he possibly fucking could. Sonic references. So yeah, that sounds cool. I look forward to playing that when I have time.
Yeah. But that's basically my week consisted of yes, that, then teaching, and then also the Pokédex leaked online for the new game.
Yeah.
Which I am excited.
We all knew the fucking starter evolutions would come out before the game did.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go into detail because obviously the game hasn't come out yet. Except, wait, is this episode coming out right as the game's coming out
Is it coming out on Sunday?
of next week?
Oh, next week. Okay. Possibly. I might try and get it out early, considering I've accidentally slipped back into waiting a week.
Because the game's coming out on Sunday. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Not like today, but next Sunday.
I will say this. The fire boy that goes all the time is probably still the best starter.
I'm not a fan of that final Evo.
It's not the best, but it's not exactly against tough competition.
I like the cat. The cat is fine.
I'd say it's furry bait, but it's a plant. So I don't know whether that qualifies.
I don't like. I'm not a big fan of the duck.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done something cool with the duck and they decided not to.
The duck mid Evo is cool. The final Evo is okay. And the thing that I'm really excited about, aside from some of these really cool designs, is the concept of paradox Pokemon, which are not different forms, but they are their own Pokemon that are unique to each version. So, for example, you have future versions of already existing Pokemon in Violet, but then you have more primal, like ancient past versions in Scarlet. And so you have stuff like I can't talk about it. I'll give the example. They showed Donphan in a trailer, and how Donphan had two forms which was Great Tusk, and then Iron Treads, of one that is more mechanical and then one that is more bestial with like huge horns and like spikes along its back. Uh, I like mechs. I'm getting lots of mecha Pokemon. That makes me happy. Um, lots of winners for me, at least.
Yeah.
But that's about it for my week as far as everything that I can remember to say that's on my mind. My brain has been rotted by Sonic the Hedgehog.
I look forward to enjoying my purple ghost swords boy.
Yeah, Ceruledge, which has an unevolved form called Char Cadet.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little flamey boy.
There is a good chance I just make a ghost team for this game.
There's some really good ghost types. There's also there is a Pokemon that is that's like moniker is the Hammer Pokemon, and I want it because it looks like a Kirby character.
You mean like DDD?
No, like if Kirby had a hammer, which he has normally.
Oh.
Um, yeah, super excited. That comes out next week, so probably going to dominate the talk because I'll be probably playing it mid podcast.
Probably. Yeah, sounds very possible. Hey, Slicer,
Hello.
what you done diddle? Done. Diddle do.
Well, I don't know if I've mentioned this on podcast before, but my phone is called the Stylo 6. They don't make stylos anymore because it has a build problem where the screen just eventually goes bad. It registers every press as a click, including so like if I hold my button or my finger down on the screen, it'll just machine gun click instead of what would normally happen when you hold your finger down. Or swiping, it'll just click every thing on the screen. It's real bad. The only official fix for this is to squeeze your phone until it stops happening for a couple months or a couple weeks. To kind of pop the screen back into place. So my phone was on a timeline or on a death timer, and it finally ran out on Wednesday. Squeezed it, and I squeezed a little too hard, and it just cracked. So
I sympathize, but also that's a really fucking dumb problem.
it's real dumb, but that's what happens when you buy a phone that isn't made anymore. Apparently, didn't know this. So I was without my phone on Wednesday, Thursday, and most of Friday, and it sucks. Didn't realize how many things I use my phone for. Like, oh look, I can't do anything with double factor authentication because my authentication app is on my phone.
Yeah.
Wow. That was rough. Thankfully, even though they don't make the phone anymore, they make the parts for it, so the screen was pretty easy to get. Let's see. I've only done one other thing, and that's just play Ragnarok, which came out on Thursday, I think.
Yeah. You have a PS5?
I live with people who have a PS5.
That works.
Good enough.
Yep. Solves the problem.
The fun thing is, I actually bought Ragnarok on the way home from work on Friday, thinking I was going to surprise the household. And I get home, and I'm taking the game out of the bag, and I look on the counter, and there's the game.
Yeah.
It seems I wasn't the only one that had that idea.
Yeah. Anticipated game.
So after I went back to the store and got a refund, I came back and started playing it. It was really good. It plays exactly the same as the first game does in a good way. I mean, it's not. They didn't change up the gameplay just for the sake of changing it up. Like, it's solid. When you're like, a bunch of little things that are nice ways to imply growth in the characters. Like, Atreus now climbs in front of you when you climb on cliffs and stuff instead of being on your back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Little things like that. They're like, oh, these characters are older and they've learned from their experiences. Kratos talks more, like a lot more, which is nice.
He's opening up.
Which is surprising considering all the traumatic things that keep happening left and right, but you know, there you have it. But yeah, I've pretty much played it all of yesterday. So I'm at, I don't know, like the 15-hour mark or something. I don't know what that actually means as far as gameplay goes, but
it is apparently quite a bit longer and larger than the first one. Well, the fourth one, but you know what
surprised.
I mean.
There's a, you now fast travel between the realms through those doorways, the door arches with the dwarves. And so there's different slots on that door for different realms, and I've unlocked half of them. I think under half actually. So if using that as a gameplay completion metric, then I'm less than 50% of the way through the game.
People thought that for the previous one as well, and you never go to Svartalfheim or Jotunheim, technically, Asgard or Vanaheim. That was it. So you basically don't go to half of them there either. So it might be.
Oh.
That's just a thing.
You correct that in the second game because those are the first 3 areas you go to.
Yeah, that isn't surprising.
Fair enough. But
it might be you don't go to Alfheim or Helheim, the ones you went to in the previous game. I don't know.
I'm not sure about. We'll see. Alfheim, yes, you do go back to, and it's really nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore because I'll spoil things, but like, great game. Absolutely get it if you play the first one.
There is one moment in the game that got spoiled for me because I clicked a video without thinking. It is the moment that got memed, or rather everyone freaked out about when they saw it when fighting Thor. Because no shit, you fight Thor, that's not a spoiler. Yeah, that's a pretty cool moment. I wish I hadn't spoiled it for myself.
Yeah, that's fair. I can make some guesses as to what you're talking about. So, yeah, good stuff. So yeah, I believe that's my week. I haven't really watched anything. I haven't played anything aside from that. Oh, I started playing. I just played more of Kakarot. I think I talked about that last time we had an episode.
Kakarot, was that?
Yeah, Kakarot, the DBZ RPG.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered something I did.
Yeah, go for it. I'm pretty much done, so go for it.
I saw the new Black Panther movie.
Yeah,
was it good?
Ryu saw that like yesterday. How is it? We have Ryu's opinion that it was very emotionally investing. He couldn't really speak too much else about it.
It is not a typical superhero movie. It is a story about, well, I mean, it starts with Black Panther dying. Because Chadwick Boseman, as you know, passed away. And they kept the cause the same as in real life, which is a disease, an illness.
Yeah. And they very vehemently refused that whole recast thing that people were trying to do. That people are pissed that they didn't do, even though they made every indication that they weren't going to do it.
So Shuri knows that she could have possibly saved his life had she the Black Panther herb that they used to make the Black Panthers that was burned in Black Panther 1 by Warmonger. Or, yeah, Killmonger, sorry.
Killmonger, yeah.
Too many mongers. So she fails to save her brother. And the entire movie is about her trying to cope with that and her kind of clashing ideas versus her nation's more traditional ideas, and also the desire for, there is a desire for revenge that comes into this as well, because the main conflict between the main villain, and I use the word villain loosely, is Namor, who, anybody who's been a Marvel fan knows that's one of the first heroes they created, the Submariner Namor.
It's basically Aquaman.
But they don't do Aquaman. There's a city under the sea, but the lore behind it is this is not Atlantis. It is a different place with a different history and a different culture that is represented there, and it feels more alive than Atlantis ever did.
You mean in the films, in the DC films?
In the DC films. It is. Namor is kind of pissed at Wakanda because Wakanda doesn't want to share the vibranium with the world, so they said, hey, go find vibranium elsewhere. And so they start looking for vibranium elsewhere, and then they are nearly discovering Namor's hidden underwater society. Because they also have vibranium.
Huh, okay.
And so Namor's like... because a comet with vibranium crashed into the ocean, and they took advantage of that.
Sounds a little petty. Well, not petty, but like that's a.
But the perspective he takes is, look, we would actually love to work with you guys. We don't want to fight you. We respect you a lot. We just need to. Could you get the scientists who made this thing that is tracking vibranium and give them to us? And then, you kind of owe us that for outing yourselves to the world and outing this vibranium, and then, like, not following through on anything and then leaving them to find us.
That makes sense.
And the scientist in question is the character that comic books fans know as Ironheart, who is the scientist who made the thing. Which she's actually pretty likable as a character. I enjoy her.
Yeah, she's one of those characters that desperately needed and thankfully got a big rewrite in the comics. Because it was... Her first incarnation was bad. Like, by every metric. It was terrible. Yeah. So she's better in the film. Like, it sounds stupid for me to think they might take the first incarnation rather than the second, but you never know. Marvel's been slipping a little bit lately, so.
I think that they made a very good movie.
Okay.
I don't want to go into too many more details because I already feel like I don't want to spoil anything.
No, you gave a good amount of detail to interest people in the movie.
Yeah, I just want to... That's kind of the basic setup, is you have a different secret society, and they are both coming into conflict because one still really doesn't want to reveal themselves to the world because they have really legitimate reasons for it, which you find out. And Wakanda is trying to reveal itself to the world, but also due to the current...
Fuck you, rest of the world.
Due to the instability and them also being like, fuck you, rest of the world. it's like you've promised to help us out, but you're not actually doing much. So that's kind of a conflict as well. It's not a matter of villain, it's a matter of antagonist. I feel. And I just think it's a good movie. They did a good job with this one. This is the first one since I think the new Spider-Man one that actually was like I walked away from. I was like, yeah, no, that was good. I enjoyed that. I don't have any major complaints. So, yay. That was good. That's it for me. And that one last thing. That's all I'm going to say on that movie is just go see it if you want to see a good movie.
Yeah. So Kakarot. Slicer.
Well, yeah. I just played more of it. Nothing to really to report. I unlocked Dragon Balls, which is kind of cool.
Yay. Now you
collect
can
those
wish for a
and-
few more inches of height.
Yeah, basically. So one of the wishes you can make.
Dragon Balls. Get stuck
you can-
till you got them all.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
And you can wish people back to life just so you can fight them again, which is a very Dragon Ball thing to do.
Yeah, it's a very Goku thing. It's a very Kakarot thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, true. And usually the benefit of that is they always have a quest associated with them when they come back, and you get their token on the community board, which is how you get all your extra powers and stuff. So which is nice. I swear to God, I'm just gonna look up like how to maximize the potential of the board because the thing is just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And getting more so as I get more tokens that don't mesh super well. But it's been fun. I'm gonna be absolute garbage when I go back to it after playing untold hours of Ragnarok.
Of a good action game, yes.
Yeah. My patience is gonna be so low for the hyper armor bullshit. Oh man.
I want to play
Yeah,
Ragnarok, man. I want to play it.
It's got a
Me
PS4
too.
version. Do you not have one?
It has a PS4 version?
Pretty sure. I went into GameStop and I asked them, for the game, and they're like PS4 or PS5. So
Huh. I did not know that.
I don't know if the PS4 version is inferior in any noticeable way, aside from maybe
Presumably.
graphically. But yeah, it should be still fun to play. So, also, if you have the money for it, you can shell out for the digital version, which is both. And then whenever you do get a PS5, you can just play that.
Or I could wait until they port it to PC.
Did they port the first one?
Yep. They're porting everything to PC, because why wouldn't you?
I mean, that's fair. That's the ideal. I just don't expect it.
Yeah, they've started porting all their shit, like Horizon, the first one, God of War, the fourth one, technically, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, it's all going there. So they have a specific publishing team for porting stuff to PC now. So
That's fair. That's sweet. So yeah, that's me. Casey, what have you been up to?
it's a good question. It's a good question. Yep. Oh, I did do something. I fucking Hey, did you know that Bleach is on Disney Plus?
I actually didn't.
In
The
outside of America, it is on Disney Plus because we don't have Hulu.
Interesting. I actually didn't know that. I kind of assumed all those streaming services were global.
Well, Hulu is ABC, the is it American Broadcasting Company, something like that, which is owned by Disney.
Is that what ABC stands for?
I don't know what ABC stands for. I just hear it called ABC. I'm just assuming because we have BBC. So you guys have Hulu because you have ABC. We don't, and they don't have licenses for anything in overseas. So everything just gets dumped on Disney Plus instead. So you get like How I Met Your Mother and all that shit on Disney Plus as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been watching Bleach on Disney Plus. The original, the first version. Because it's good to have the dub on in the background for me to listen to, and I am feeling all of the nostalgia. I am fairly certain it is a slightly censored version of it. For a couple of reasons. One being, I'm pretty sure Chizuru gets way too handsy with Orihime in certain scenes. That does not happen. There is a scene that is very clearly supposed to be Chizuru getting a nosebleed, and that does not happen. It is instead what looks like milk. Or possibly something that resembles milk. Whoops. Chinese censorship in full effect. And there are scenes where, like, are you okay? You're covered in blood, and the dude is completely ordinary, no blood at all whatsoever. So I think it's kind of a little bit censored.
Absolutely wild. Why is this on this platform?
So yeah, that's but you know, I'm mostly listening to it more than watching it, so it's fine.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that has been a fun nostalgia trip. That made me think of a really dumb story idea that I'm probably never going to get around to, but would be amusing. Which is Don Kanonji, the stupid gag character of the TV psychic, medium, whatever you want to call him. Only he... You remember when Zero and Kenshi were talking about that Krillin is the hero story?
Yeah.
It's basically that, only it's Don Kanonji.
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible.
And he declares himself the mentors of, like, all of the main cast and goes with them to Soul Society. Ichigo and Uryu are very much not about it. Literally everyone else is totally all about it and does the blah ha 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 thing to everyone.
Incredible. So it's basically the con man from Mob Psycho 100 just decided to take out a bunch of students.
I mean, technically he's not a con man and he is a good dude, but, like, he's also a complete fuck up.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty fun idea. I'm probably never going to get around to it.
I mean, it'd probably be best in, like, a short series of one-shots and anthology series kind of deal. Just to really maximize the punchline joke formula, but it is a very fun idea.
So yeah, that was a thing that inspired. That will probably, like, I have so much on my plate. Did I do anything else? No. Answer to that is no. I played more Path to Nowhere. The story of that game is actually quite good. That's pretty much it.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. Very nice.
Sleepy.
Anything else we got?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we did Patreon last week, so
Yeah. Yum.
thank you guys for listening.
Yum.
See you guys later.
Bye bye.
You're both getting very frustrated that I'm not doing the proper outro, aren't you?
No.
If you want to support us on Patreon, you may do so if you are so inclined.
Oh yeah? Tell them how.
Through the link in the description below.
There you go. What else?
Also, make sure to like and subscribe. And ring the bell for notifications.
Discord link in the description is the part that he forgot. That's fine. You know.
Discord link in the description if you want to join the Discord. There's memes there.
This is what I get for trying to train my replacement. Alright, so bye everybody.
Bye.